So, what we're talking about this weekend is a tool in a toolbox. It isn't everything, and there is more to growing in Christ, obviously, than learning how our minds think. But this is a tool that you're going to be using along the way. There are friendships, accountability groups. There's obviously Bible studies, talking to people in your life who are advisors and loved ones, and challenging each other. These are all part of growing in Christ. And I just want to say that because I'm talking as this is the only way to fight sin, and it's not. It's a tool in the toolbox, and it's a way to think about sin and struggles that motivates us to do what's better for us, that motivates us to do what we enjoy more. And so diving into this, we're talking about mindset and how we think about stuff. I'm going to go ahead and read this verse rather than pawning it off on you. Of course I'm not, because I have my bookmark in the wrong spot. Oops. Pause. Double check your bookmarks, everyone, for future notes. Romans 12:2. Does anyone know that? You're a counselor. I'm sorry. You're awesome. Does any student know Romans 12:2? Shout it out if you do. Do not be conformed. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, and by testing, that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good, acceptable, and perfect. And so as we grow in Christ, and as we put sinfulness behind, how we think is going to change. And I thoroughly believe what we're talking about this weekend, or at least the first part of this week, for me it's a weekend. What we're talking about this first part of this week is part of that mental transformation. Because when we come to see things as God sees them, then our decisions become easier. Because as humans, we have a very limited scope. Who here knows everything? Who here used to think, one second. Who here used to think that they knew more than what they know today? Does that make any sense? Thank you. Yeah. I used to think I was smart. And the older I get, the dumber I realize I am. But that's part of growth. That's part of walking in Christ. And this is one of those mindset things that we learn to shift, to learn to see things as God sees them, not just in our limited scope. And so, a brief review of what we were talking about before. What were we talking about before? What were the two characters that I was referring to?
Jason and Odysseus.
There we go. Jason and Odysseus. And I argued that their stories were parables for how we answer the question, what do we do with sin? Or why shouldn't we sin? And what are the two ways that we can answer that question? Why shouldn't we sin? All right, right here. There are other things to do. There's something better to do. And that's the argument that I think is biblical. What is the answer that most of you have been given to why we shouldn't sin? In the back, I'll come to you later. It's bad. It's bad. We shouldn't. That plain. Yeah.
It's God is Jesus Christ, and the church is the life of full, and the church is nice, and the Jesus does that by Eric Church.
So the church and God are good, and so we should do good things. because we're told to. And well, that's true. You know what it's not? It's not motivating. Some days it is, a lot of days it is. But when the rubber hits the road, that's not a motivation a lot of times. And I believe God makes it clear in Scripture that there's much more motivational reasons to why we should do good rather than just because He said we should. Hebrews 11:6. Anyone remember that verse from last session? Or if you memorized it today? Hebrews, oh, I just lost my stuff. See, this is why I should memorize all my verses before I come up here, right? It's Hebrews 11:6. For it is impossible to please Him, God, unless we believe He exists, and that we believe that He rewards those who seek Him. All that's saying, what the Bible says God promises us good things if we obey Him. And I made a bold statement. No, we'll just come back to this later. So anyways, we talked about Odysseus, and we talked about Jason being what we're told nowadays, oftentimes, when it comes to sin, is just don't. One thing I do want to pull out here is this perspective of just don't, is focusing on the do's and the don'ts, and not the relationships. Because it's so easy to be the person that does all the do's and looks so good. But you can have all your T's dotted, no, all your T's crossed, thank you. All your T's crossed and all your I's dotted and be someone who hates God in the church. And I've seen that. Actually, at some of the points where people would see me as most righteous was when I was sinning the most. Why did that happen? Because I wanted to cover it up. And so, when we focus on the do's and the don'ts, we focus on tying ourselves to the mast, as Odysseus did, so he wasn't lured by the siren's song. And as we sail past that island and stare at it, our hearts aren't changing. Our hearts are longing for something. And you know what? We're torturing ourselves more than if we learned to listen to something better. So, I mentioned it last night. I'm going to bring it up again, and I'll probably bring it this morning. And I'll probably bring it up again tomorrow. But if you want to change, why don't you? If there's something in your life that you don't like, or you think isn't good for you, why are you doing it? Why do you do anything, for that matter? Who here has shoes on? Who here has sandals on? Sorry, I needed to make that up, so let me try again. Who here has shoes on that aren't sandals? And who here has sandals on that aren't shoes? Okay, so I need, one of you guys in the front row with shoes, stand up please. Perfect, already got one. Crocs are weird. I'm not even going to go there. And then you can stand up. You have stands. So, why did you put shoes on? Because it's wet. Why? Not only is she wearing sandals. If you wanna come up here on the stage real quick. Not only is she wearing sandals, she's wearing socks. Why are you wearing socks with sandals?
My tennis shoes are wet and I want socks.
Perfect. Thank you. And this seems silly, but they have reasons behind it. Now, he's looking at this, and the last solution he would have to the situation is to wear socks with sandals. Because when it's wet, I'm either barefoot or I have sandals without socks.
I brought my socks with and then I put them on here.
You're smart.
I know.
She's smart. Because you want your feet to be warm. Probably.
I don't want my socks.
Anyway, so this is a trivial example, but there are reasons why they did. I remember talking about, no, I'm not going to go there, because it's tangential and long. But the idea is, I open up my sock drawer in the morning, and I grab a pair of socks on the top. Who else in the morning, when you get dressed, picks out their socks like that? You open your sock drawer, and the one on top is the one you take. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. Now, who is going to open up your sock drawer or drawers and shuffle to the one and find one of them in the back? Why would you put that much effort to put socks on?
No, everyone. This is smart.
Who would have thought socks would have been so controversial? And just real quickly, using something as simple as socks that you deal with every day, there are reasons why you choose this sock over that sock. A lot of guys, myself included, say socks just aren't worth the time. A lot of girls, generally, I am generalizing, but my sister, for example, she would either wear only the socks that has the toes on them, or she would always wear her socks inside out, because she hated the seams. The seams drove her nuts. And I don't even notice seams in my socks. So each of us notice different things, but there are reasons why we're choosing the socks we wear. Socks was nowhere in my notes, so that was fun. And what this is going to come down to, as we keep talking about this, is what I want to define as desire. And I know there was one of the cabins that had this question of what's the difference between a want and a desire? And are all of our desires really good? And at this point, I believe yes. I'm still fleshing out that idea. But as I looked into this, the more and more I believe all of our desires is good. We choose whether we want to fulfill them in a good way or a bad way. And I'll dive into that later because I'm sure there's a question about revenge, for example. I want revenge. Does that mean revenge is good? Huh? On?
My sisters.
For?
They're evil.
They sisters have that tendency. There are pictures of me in like dresses and makeup, and so older sisters sometimes have that tendency. To be fair, big brothers have it too. If you have a big brother, he probably picks the snot out of you. I mean, not literally, but.
My crazy brother says.
Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. And so the title of this is Desires and Decisions. How does what we desire or what we want, how does that influence how we make our decisions? How does that influence how we pick our socks? How does that influence what we look at on the internet? How does that influence what we say behind our friends, to our friend, about our friends behind their backs? Why? Why are we doing those things? Now, I did ask a proverbial empty question at the end of last lesson to say, look at the things you do in your life and ask yourself why. I probably should have dug into it deeper and started talking about socks then. When you packed, why did you choose your blue track and field sweater rather than some other one? Why did I choose the clothes I chose to pack? I didn't. My wife did all. She's awesome. Actually, she asked about a couple things, and I said, well, I need the jeans with holes in them because I'm speaking at a camp, and camp speaker needs holes in their jeans. Let's see. So, desires and decisions. Conflicting desires. Sometimes we're in places where it feels like we want to do two things. Paul talks about this. Where he's like, what a wretched man I am, though I want to do good, evil is right there with me. And there's this conflict of good and evil in me. That's not where we're going, but I want to reference that. You cannot seek both righteousness and sin. Two references, I'm going to put them both out there now because I'm asking you guys to read them. The first one is going to be James 3, 10 through 12. Can I have a hand up for who wants to grab that? I see a lot of Bibles open, which is impressive. Perfect. Please, what is your name? Ethan? Okay, I'm gonna say off the other verse and then I'll come back to you and have you read that. And then the other one's gonna be just Matthew 6, verse 24. What is your name? Yes? Nikki? Okay. Okay, if you would read the James passage, please. Loud and clear so everyone can hear you.
From the same mouth come blessing and cursing, my brothers. These things ought not to be so. Does a spring forth from the same opening both fresh and salt water? Can a fig tree, my brothers, bear olives, or a grapevine produce figs? Neither can a salt pond yield fresh water.
From the same mouth come blessing and cursing. My brother, these things ought not to be so. Can a spring pour forth from the same opening both fresh water and salt water? You're going to be doing good things or you're going to be doing bad things. From the same mouth, do things come that make people happy and things that make people sad? No, you can't do that. Either you're going to be the person that says things that make people feel good and encourages them and builds them up, or you're going to be known as a person who says negative things and tears them down. Now, you're like, well, sometimes I do this and sometimes I do that. But we also all know people where they say a lot of good things, but every now and then they say something cutting. And it hurts and it stinks. And all those good things they said, those hundreds of good things they said, mean nothing when one of those bad things come up. And so no, we can't have both fresh water and salt water pouring out of our mouths. We build up behaviors based on what we want, and we'll get there. I actually really like how we talk to people as a topic, because I think people are important. Do you think people are important? Do you think you're important? Let's start there. Do you think you're important? Nope. Oh, you are important. Are your sisters here? Okay, your sisters are here. Okay, I'm sorry. The Matthew passage, please. That's the one.
No one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money.
No one can serve two masters, for he will either hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. Now, I think this is an interesting one, because oftentimes in the church, people worship the master of prestige. It's very easy to get people to think good about you when you're a quote-unquote good Christian from the outside. But when you don't really care about the God part and you just want the worship from your peers, well, you're serving the wrong master and you're not really serving God. And you can't straddle the line on these things, because if you ride the fence, you get slivers in uncomfortable places. You got it. And so my argument is, we always do what we want the most. Would anyone disagree with that statement? You always do whatever you want the most. Would anyone agree with that statement? Do most of you not have opinions? Okay, I respect that. Romans 8, 5 through 6. For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh. But those who live according to the Spirit set their mind on the things of spirit. For to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind on the spirit is life and peace. So, when I say we always do what we want the most, I'm throwing in the concept of long-term and short-term gratification. For example, if we go back to the concept of that $100, how we want to get that $100, stealing it's easier and quicker. And that's probably why someone would do it. Earning it is slower and harder, but more beneficial in the long run. But that short-sighted person, mind my S's, I struggled there a little bit. That short-sighted person wants that $100 quick because he's not thinking about the long-term gain. So, as we're looking into this area, and we're talking about not doing sin, I think it's important to bring up the concept of replace, not just avoid. Because when we look at our two illustrations, Odysseus tied to the mast, or Jason listening to the master harpist, all of Odysseus was doing is he was doing that avoiding piece, that I'm going to stay away from it no matter what, but I'm still listening. Whereas Jason said, that's very, very dangerous, and I don't want to put any thought towards it, so I'm going to apply myself in another direction. And in the story, that's the master harpist, Orpheus. And so, we're going to pop back to this concept a lot, but we always do what we want the most, and what we want is always based upon what we believe. Now, I need some volunteers. I probably need about 5 or 6 volunteers. So we're going to go, you can come up, I want the red shirt and the gray sweater, and then I'm grabbing some girls. Sorry, guys. Will you? I already made fun of you for your sweater. All right. Nadia, why don't you come up? And then one of you two can decide, and then one of you three. I need you to come stand up over here, kind of in front of this board. Just line up in front of this board. And I have an important question for each of you. With actual consequences. Would you rather have a cookie or a rock? Rock. Now, don't do anything yet, but I'm going to give you a cookie. Would you rather have a cookie or a rock?
Take a rock.
You want a rock?
I didn't want to take one, but take it from the Ah.
Would you rather have a cookie or a rock? They're boys. You're probably going to throw it at something. Would you rather have a cookie or a rock? Okay.
You gave us the idea.
I take no responsibility for what happens with the rocks. Would you rather have a cookie or a rock?
Steel.
It's actually a rock from just down there. If you want, would you like the rock? Okay. I'm curious how this is going. It isn't exactly how I expected. I'm just glad I have enough rocks. Would you rather have a cookie or a rock? Okay, really? Okay. We'll work with this. This works. Now, I'm actually curious about this. Why did you want the cookie? Because it tastes good. I'll agree with that one. Why would you like cookie? Or sorry, why would you like a rock?
Because then I can take the cookie.
No, that's not me. Fun fact you don't know about me, I actually have my black belt in Taekwondo. So if you want to start something, then you can go home. I mean, that's, is a cookie worth going home? Why do you want the rock? Yes. You want a pet rock. What are you going to name it? Jeff.
Yep.
Why do you want the cookie? You're hungry. The rock potentially means something good. We'll hope for the future. I can respect that. I'm sorry. Why do you want the rock? You're not hungry right now. Okay. Now, everyone who had a rock, take the rock and sit down. I need 4 people who want cookies. Just come up. First 4 people up here. Hey, we got him. Stop. You were late. I'm sorry. You were like, I think, is that right? Did I want to do the yeah. 5.
She was like,
Okay, so.
No. How dare you?
Okay, go sit down. Thank you. Enjoy your cookies. I have cookies. I want to give them away.
How dare
My wife made them.
you? Give me a rock.
So, no, you get your own rock. So, as we were up here, a few things happened. We had some rocks chosen because one of the gals thought there was going to be something good about it. So she had hoped for the future that there was something special about this rock. I'm sorry, it's a very ordinary rock, and I have no more plans for this rock. My assumption is some of the guys wanted a rock because they wanted to get a laugh out of everyone. Because if I was one of them, that's why I would have done it. And so there's a reason why someone would choose a rock or a cookie. Now, see, I need to follow along my slides because they're my notes and I'm way ahead of myself. So they had a reason, again, they had a want why they chose everything. Now, using the same illustration, except instead of a cookie and a rock, I want to talk about an apple and rabbit pellets. Rabbit pellets, rabbit treats. Huh? I don't have it, sorry. But the thought experience I had, if you were hungry, and I said, I have these 2 things that you could eat, okay? Raise your hand if you would eat the apple. We have the vast majority. Okay, there's a maybe, he maybe wants the rabbit pellets, but judging from that haircut, I wouldn't trust him. But now, with a lot of you, how many of you would want to eat the rabbit pellets if I said, I'm going to give you $1 million if you eat the rabbit pellets? Who would eat the rabbit pellets for that? Okay. So most of the people who raised their hand for the apple, and I realize, obviously girls would be less likely because boys are gross, but what if I said,
They don't like anything.
what if I said $10 million? What if I said enough money that you never had to work a job again? Okay. Some of you have standards, some of you do not. But the idea being, there is a way I could get you to want to eat the rabbit pellets, and so you would eat the rabbit pellets. Of course you would want the money if you got the rabbit pellets. And so how do we make these decisions? Well, I know an apple tastes good, and I know rabbit pellets, not from personal experience. I know rabbit pellets probably don't taste as good as an apple. So if I was hungry, I would eat the apple. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of animals do that, and it's gross. There's actually a Bible verse that talks about a dog coming back to its own vomit. So since we're on the topic, where or if you have a pet dog, you've probably seen that happen.
Yes.
There are 3 ways that we can come to know stuff, and we want things based on what we know. I want the apple because I know it tastes good, and I know it'll satisfy my hunger. There are 3 ways that we can come to know/believe something. What are those 3 ways? And I'm going to stretch you guys, so feel free to throw guesses out. What are those 3 ways? Counselors, you can get on this as well. What are the 3 ways that we can know something? Not you, Mark. We can see it. We can be there. We can watch it happen. Pretty sure.
Someone tells us.
Someone tells us. Look it up on the internet. I've seen 2 mentioned. The gentlemen have managed to mention 2 of them. All right, ladies, can we get the last one?
You can personally experience it.
I'm gonna put that as see it, but that was specifically the words I was looking for. Yes. You can feel it. I'm actually going to say no to that because I feel that falls closer into the next category. Actually, I would call that under personal experience because I've had this feeling before and it leads towards a good thing. It is a legitimate way to make those decisions, but I think it falls under the others. Where is it? Okay, we're missing one. So, if I know ice cream tastes good, and I know chocolate tastes good, I can look at an ice cream sundae that's ice cream drizzled in hot chocolate and know that tastes good. It's called logic, deduction. Yes.
Okay, like you assume based on previous experience and probably will lead to a good conclusion.
Correct. It's called deduction or logic. And those 3 things, are important. They're on the left. That's how we can come to know something, is experience. In other words, I've eaten rabbit turds before and found out they didn't taste good. And that's why I want my apple. Deduction, 1 + 2 = 3. It's logic. Something that might happen here is, well, I typically don't like vegetables. I typically like fruits. And so if there's a vegetable that I've never seen before and a fruit I've never seen before, I'm more likely to eat that fruit. That would be an example of logic or deduction. Yeah.
Is it because fruits are much?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for sweets. I have a sweet tooth. That's why I'm cooking in front of all of you. And then the 3rd one is revelation. Someone told me, I looked it up on the internet, I read a book, I received a letter in the mail saying that the pizza that the guy's going to deliver tonight will be burnt. The guy's going to be burnt. He had a long day in the sun, and it's going to look real uncomfortable. And so those 3 ways are ways that we can come to know something, and we always, and what we want is always informed entirely by what we know and what we believe. Now, then there's the question of sin, because as a Christian, I say, I know that God has good in my future. I know He's given me good promises. I know He's created the world, so He must know what's up. The question is, why do we still sin? Because the ways we can know stuff can get perverted, or we can have incomplete knowledge. For example, an obvious one, let me see my examples on this one. Totally forgot. You guys distract me so much. So inexperience. So inexperience is a reason that we sin. We just haven't encountered it yet. I brush my teeth every day. Who else here? No, that's okay. Don't. I didn't always. When I was young, I didn't. As I grew up, my teeth got cavities and they got sensitive. But when I was young, I didn't have that experience yet. I didn't know that that would have that result. And so as I feel the bones in my mouth rotting out, I'm like, I don't like this. And so I'm brushing my teeth because I now have the experience to inform that experience. Make sense? That's the reason we sin, though, because we just don't know yet. Another one is ignorance. This one I want to point out is a little more intentional, as in I'm intentionally not listening to the advice of my parents, for example. Where this is very much a knowledge. You don't know because your deduction has gone bad. You've stopped using the mind God has given you. And lastly is deception. This one ties to revelation. And revelation is when someone reveals, like I went from here to here, I was revealing this to you. That was a revelation. Divine revelation is when God does it, otherwise it's revelation. But deception falls in there based on if the person doing the revealing is a liar. For example, my pizza guy shows up, and he's pale. He hasn't seen the sun in months. That letter I got lied to me. And so I believed that my pizza guy was going to be burnt. So I had some aloe vera ready for him when he showed up at the door. Okay, no. Anyways, and so our revelation can be wrong when we're deceived. In the Garden of Eden, way back in Genesis, what did the serpent say? Correct. You will be just like God. What else did he say?
You won't die.
You won't die. Correct. There's another thing he said. You guys are 100% right. He said several things. On the end. Huh? You guys are thinking of all these things I didn't think of. Correct. He did say that. That you can eat of the free tree that God told you not to. Well, you can, but there were consequences. What did he say about God? Gavin, I believe? Okay. Did God really say? Is the person that gave you the revelation, is God who told you not to eat of this tree a reliable source? Did God really say that? You're not gonna, you can't trust him. There was deception there, which perverted the revelation from God. These are reasons why we sin. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a hungry lion, looking for someone to devour. This ain't no game. He's looking for you so he can devour you, so he can turn your life into opposition towards God. What is my time frame? We started at a funny time, so I wasn't sure.
I didn't even watch.
Okay.
What do you have?
I can do this. What time do you want them on?
Probably the next 5 minutes, something like that work.
Sure, we'll see. And so, those are reasons that we sin. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be looking at more examples like we did with the money, of saying, why are we doing the things we want to do?
And take that back. You take what you need.
Okay.
I was thinking on the schedule wrong.
Okay. And so, on the deception part, I'm sorry about this. Who all had cookies? And this took me a lot longer to get to than I thought. Can you even taste funny?
No,
Yeah? What's wrong with your cookie? It tasted kind of okay. What? It was salty. You don't know how much salt was in those. There were two of the cookies I had out had like this much salt in them. And I'm very sorry because I have glasses of water up here for you to rinse your mouth off, and then I totally forgot about it. So if you had a salty cookie and you want some water, let me know. Okay. Okay. And to make up for it, we have more cookies. There will be cookies at the snack later, but no salt. There will be no salty cookies at the snack. They're all hidden up here. Anyway, that was supposed to be an example, trying to do horribly, about having a bad source. I was a bad source because I gave you a horrible, horrible cookie. Exactly. You can't rely on me. Learn your lesson. You know, you've got friends who are less reliable than others. Some of those friends are going to say, hey, it's not a big deal. You'll be fine. Just once. And you go with them this once. And afterwards, it's like, oh, that was a bad decision. I regret that. I have consequences from something that I let him convince me to. Well, he's no longer a reliable source like me. He's never going to accept a cookie from me again. And so, likewise, we need to be, what's the word I'm looking for? We need to be aware of the people whom we're accepting information from. And as we move in tomorrow, what we're going to do is this one's called Listening for the Sweeter Song. You know, on the story with Joseph, he avoided the island of the sirens because he didn't even hear them. He was listening to something better. Huh? Did I say Joseph again? I'm sorry. Do I keep doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. His name's Jason. Don't listen to me. And so, Jason avoided the Song and Sirens because he found something better to listen to. Let's see, and probably if I looked at a lot of your CD players or iPods, iPhones, because no one has CD players anymore, you probably need to find something better to listen to too. And so, but tomorrow we're going to do what I call listening for the sweeter song. Let's look at our life and find those things that are better, that are more satisfying, that will give us a more fulfilling life. Let's find some of those and apply them to our lives. Why? Well, I'm what you call, I want you to enjoy your life. Let me say that. And this isn't in a Jesus loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life sort of thing, because he does, but life isn't about you. It's not about living comfortably, living safely, but it is about living a very satisfying life. It is about living a very fulfilling life. And in our short-sightedness as humans, oftentimes when we get what we want, we find that it's not that satisfying. We find that, oh, you know, that movie I wanted to go see, or that computer I got, or that new pair of shoes. Well, I got it, and a month later there was a new model. And what? Oh, I want something new. I didn't find my satisfaction in Christ. I was trying to say, this new pair of shoes will make me feel good. And then you got mud on it. It took you a week. You got mud on your shoes. And every time you put on your shoes, you're like, these stupid shoes. Anyways, and so tomorrow we're going to talk about listening for that sweeter song. A verse from Proverbs I want to read. It's a little tangential, but blessed is the one who finds wisdom. What does blessed mean? Happy. Happy. Happy is the one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. For their gain from her, that is wisdom, from their gain from her is better than the gain from silver, and her profit is better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Having wisdom, the Bible says, is more precious than having a gold-plated mansion with a diamond-studded swimming pool. Yeah, but still. And so that's what we're going to dive into tomorrow. We're going to talk about desires we're having, and the ones that accompany them. Now, when I talk about desires and wants, I want to point out 3 examples, and we're going to talk about this more tomorrow, though. Is because some might say, well, I want to do something bad. Who's wanted to do something bad? And one might say, I don't even feel like I desire being kind to someone. Well, what we're talking about here is the desire is a need that God has put inside of you. And your want is an attempt to fulfill it. For example, going back to my past with pornography, I desired companionship, and I felt alone. I really didn't want pornography, but I had a hole in my heart, and I didn't know how to fulfill it. And so I tried to fulfill it the wrong way. And so that thing that you want in your core, that's the desire. How you fulfill it, or how you think you should fulfill it, that's going to be what I call the want. And so tomorrow, we're diving in to talk about listening for the sweeter song. I'm just going to close with this because, again, it's a reminder that we have a choice that God gives us, and He promises us good things, blessings, things that will make us happy, we're obedient. And He promises things that will make us sad if we're disobedient, because we bring those on ourselves. See, I am setting before you today a blessing, something that's going to make you happy, and a curse, something that's going to make you sad. See, I'm setting before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you obey my commandments, the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you today. And the curse, if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord your God. As you go, again, have good conversations with each other, with your counselors, and challenge each other. Say, okay, how does this impact your life? How does this impact what socks you're going to wear tomorrow? How does this impact what you're going to say to each other? Well, you're going to cuss each other out on the volleyball field, or you're going to say, hey, good try. Give it another shot. Those are two attitudes I consistently see in sports as an example. Someone messes up and people mock them, or someone messes up and people say, it's all right, give it another go. What are you going to do? If you want to change this week, why don't you do it? Dear God, thank you for this crew. Thank you for this team. Thank you for the opportunity in the community to open hearts and talk to truth. I ask that you make conversations happen between student and student, and between student and counselor, that truth would grow, that righteousness would develop, that they would see the satisfaction and the joy that they can have in their life, rather than the emptiness and the disappointment and the frustration of always trying to go about satisfying their desires the wrong way. Life can be lonely and hard and scary to talk about this stuff when it's so close to who we are. I ask that you be with each and every one of these students, each and every one of these leaders, each and every one of the kitchen staff and administrative staff, that you would soften our hearts and sharpen our minds, that we would be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Amen. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful night. I believe we're going straight into, well,